Why didn't the Ministry of Magic take action against Harry Potter for breaking the rules? Did Harry, Ron, and Hermione have to starve in the Deathly Hallows? And how did Harry actually find out about the Marauders? Hi, I'm Dylan, and you're tuned into OSSA Movies. The Strange Wizard Wonder. One of the biggest head-scratchers in the Harry Potter franchise involves the children's arrival at Hogwarts. Since Harry is a half-blood and Hermione is Muggle-born, it's easy to understand their awe at this new world that they've never experienced before. I mean, if you suddenly saw magic right in front of your eyes for the first time, you'd probably lose your mind as well. Still, it doesn't make sense why the other students are just as excited as them. You see, the majority of the students at Hogwarts come from wizarding backgrounds and a long lineage of wizards. Naturally, you'd expect them to be used to seeing all the magical and fantastical by now. Instead, they're just as shocked by things like magical portraits as Harry is. Their reactions don't make any real sense here. Surely they should have experienced something similar many times before? Or maybe the magic in their homes was limited to card tricks. Who knows? Harry broke the rules. You know what they say, rules are meant to be broken. However, when you're a wizard in training, you're expected to be better behaved than the average teenager. You know, the whole great power and great responsibility thing. When your name is Harry Potter, though, you get away with a lot more, as we discovered in The Prisoner of Azkaban. At the beginning of the movie, the 13-year-old Harry used the Lumos charm to create a light under his covers to read a book, when he could have easily just turned on a lamp. Harry's actions were strictly forbidden. However, as underage magic is considered one of the deadliest sins. This is why every wizard under the age of 17 has a trace charm placed on them, so the Ministry of Magic can see what they're up to at all times. Yet, nothing ever happened to Harry. The Ministry said nothing and he got away with defying the rules. Truth be told, this was a misdemeanor and it's unlikely that he would have been expelled for creating light to read a book. But it's one of several examples where Harry used magic illegally. What happened to Crabbe? Like any good antagonist, Draco Malfoy had his own band of merry men. Throughout the films, he's flanked by his partners in crime, Goyle and Crabbe. When the Deathly Hallows came around, well, Crabbe was nowhere to be found, being replaced by Blaise in the gang. In the books, though, he was still homies with Draco and played an integral part in the proceedings. So, what actually happened here? Well, this plot hole is actually due to an unfortunate real-life incident. Actor Jamie Waylett, who played Crabbe, was arrested and pleaded guilty to the possession of drugs and a knife. As a result, he was fired from the films. Rather than recast the part, the filmmakers went in a different direction. Sadly, it seems like Jamie has had further trouble with the law since then and hasn't managed to get his film career back on track. Hopefully, he'll be able to turn things around. It's all in the eyes. All Harry Potter fans know that Harry and his mother share the same eye color. While in the books, the color is green, this was changed for the movies, since Daniel Radcliffe's eyes are blue. Expectedly, the filmmakers hired an actress with blue eyes to portray Lily Potter. Yet, in the Deathly Hallows Part 2, we experience one of Snape's flashbacks to a younger version of Lily, where she now has brown eyes. What's even weirder is that Snape had told Harry that he has his mother's eyes. In all likelihood, this was probably a brief oversight by the filmmakers. Maybe the actress's eye color was meant to be changed in post-production, or someone forgot to get her blue contact lenses. It's actually quite funny though, since the producers had been extremely strict when casting for Harry Potter, and had refused any brown-eyed kids without hesitation. And then this happened later in the film series. It's like some form of cosmic justice for brown-eyed kids everywhere. Hogwarts Suspect safety protocols. Look, for a school of witchcraft and wizardry, Hogwarts isn't exactly high on safety. If a bunch of kids can cause havoc on the premises with simple magic, you probably need to rethink your security plans. Case in point, Harry, Hermione, and Ron were able to use the simple Alohomora spell to unlock a door that guards a three-headed dog, a giant chess game, and the Philosopher's Stone. Considering how entry-level the spell is, it doesn't make sense that it would be all that stands between someone and the fabled Philosopher's Stone. Also, why bother putting a lock on the door in the first place? I mean, with such easy access, is anyone surprised that people wanted to snatch the Philosopher's Stone? Sure, you could argue there were other obstacles to get through before getting to the stone, but why teach the students this unlocking spell if there are locked doors around? It's like a sign pointing to a giant red button that says, "Don't touch." You just know that they're gonna do the opposite. Food for thought. The great part about being a wizard is that you can use magic for just about anything. Heck, you can swish your wand, say a few words over your burger, and give yourself a 2-for-1 special. So, why did Harry, Ron, and Hermione have to go hungry in the Deathly Hallows? While on the run from Voldemort and his Death Eaters, the trio found themselves with a lack of food. By that time, though, they'd already learned about the law of elemental transfiguration, which meant they could have duplicated whatever they found or had around them, including food. All it would have taken is for them to catch a fish or two and they could have fed themselves for quite some time, and no one would need to starve. What's even more unbelievable is that Hermione seems to have totally forgotten about this. And that's completely out of character since she remembers absolutely everything. The whereabouts of the wizarding community. The Tri-Wizard Tournament saw French and Bulgarian witches visiting Hogwarts. It's displayed that there's a wizarding community outside of Britain, and they stay in regular touch with each other. In the Deathly Hallows, though, the British magical community is left to fight Voldemort and his supporters all on their lonesome. Surely the Dark Lord would be a threat to these other countries as well, so why didn't they show up to support Hogwarts here? It's a bizarre story loophole that hasn't quite been addressed, and leaves many more questions for us to ponder. Maybe there could be some weird international relations policy between the countries, but that's unlikely since it's in everyone's best interest to put a stop to Voldemort here. If a member of your community is under attack, it makes sense to put up a united front, right? I mean, do they only show up when there's tea and biscuits on offer? Muggle Technology. In the Chamber of Secrets, we meet Colin Creevey, who loves to take pics of life at Hogwarts. His camera follows him around as he captures everyone in the moment. However, there's a slight problem here. Muggle technology isn't allowed at Hogwarts. While Colin's camera is reportedly powered by magic and not batteries, it's technically frowned upon, as described by author JK Rowling. Writing on Pottermore, she stated, "There's another reason for most wizards' avoidance of Muggle devices, and that is cultural. The magical community prides itself on the fact that it does not need the many, admittedly ingenious, devices that Muggles have created to enable them to do what can be so easily done by magic." Maybe if Colin's camera had actually looked like something more magical, it would have been more believable. Also, if Muggle technology could be powered by magic, why didn't more of the kids have Game Boys? Honestly, if you're at boarding school, a portable video game console is a basic necessity. The race-swapped character. The recasting of Lavender Brown is one of the most controversial talking points of the Harry Potter film series. In the earlier movies, the character was portrayed by two actresses of color, Jennifer Smith and Kathleen Colley. However, in The Half-Blood Prince, Lavender was played by Jessie Cave, a white actress. Naturally, this created a heated debate because of the race swapping, even though the most commonly stated reason for the change was that the studio needed a more established actress, and Lavender hadn't been technically introduced. If you recall, Lavender was never referred to by name, nor did she have a speaking role until The Half-Blood Prince. That being said, every Harry Potter fan knew exactly who she was, and the recasting raised more than a few eyebrows with the viewers as well as the film industry. Nowadays, you can't imagine the studio going through with something like this. Even back then, this was a decision that wasn't warmly received. Harry's knowledge of the Marauders. While making a film, you need to pretend like your audience isn't familiar with the source material, because sometimes they aren't. In the case of the Marauders, this is a good example of how the filmmakers just presumed the viewers had read The Prisoner of Azkaban and knew what they were referring to. For those who read the book, you'll recall how all the details about the Marauders and their respective nicknames were revealed at length. Yet, this was something that was excluded from the film. Anyway, a few films later, Harry refers to Sirius as Padfoot and Peter as Wormtail, their Marauder nicknames. So how exactly did he get this vital information about them? In all fairness, this could have been something that was revealed off-screen. However, considering how big a deal it is in the Harry Potter mythology, you'd think some screen time would be dedicated to it. Because you know what they say about assumptions, right? When you make a series of movies, it's highly likely that there will be some inconsistencies and questions along the way. After all, filmmakers are only human, and there are already so many boxes they need to tick when creating a Harry Potter movie. But hey, none of those plot holes made us enjoy the movies any less, so it's all good at the end of the day, right? But now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Colin's camera would really work at Hogwarts? And should Harry have faced the Ministry of Magic for breaking the rules? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for some more awesome videos.